Welcome everyone to today and tomorrow's workshop, where we examine the management of invasive plant species in Uganda. So this morning, we will dive into the foundations and root causes of invasive plant species spread. And following this, we will look at what makes an effective management plan and process. To introduce our speakers today and their topics, we have Dr. Caroline Asiimwe, who will describe the current situation of invasive plant species in Uganda's national parks. Professor Julie Kutsia will introduce us to the foundation and root causes of invasive plant species spread. Dr. Graham Harding will talk with us about what is needed for an effective invasive plant species management plan. And Professor Fred Babwatira will explore invasive plant species management in the Ugandan context. So, our first speaker, Dr. Caroline Asiimwe, is a Ugandan wildlife veterinarian and conservation leader with extensive experience in wildlife health and biodiversity protection. She serves as manager of research and monitoring at the Uganda Wildlife Authority. Dr. Caroline, the stage is all yours, and feel warmly welcomed.
Thank you, Christian and Tim. As Uganda Wildlife Authority, we are really very excited to have this opportunity to share with the global experts about our challenge of invasive species in the country. Just a brief about what Uganda Wildlife Authority is for those who don't know. We are a semi-autonomous agency. We serve on behalf of the country to protect the wildlife of Uganda, both inside and outside protected areas, with a vision to be the global leaders in wildlife conservation. We have a mission to conserve, economically develop, and sustainably manage the wildlife and protected areas of Uganda in partnership with neighboring communities and other stakeholders for the benefit of the people of Uganda and the global community. And that being our mission, unfortunately, we face a lot of challenges, and one of them is the reason we're here today. In Uganda, we are mandated to protect wildlife, especially those in inside protected areas. And here we have 10 national parks, we have 12 wildlife reserves, we have 5 community wildlife management areas. This is where we co-manage with the community. And then we have 13 wildlife sanctuaries. They are scattered all over the country. And globally, if we add on even those outside the protected areas, but within the reserves, which are managed under our sister organization, National Forest Authority, whose existence is about to expire due to the rapax, which has been happening in Uganda with many agencies being merged together to improve efficiency. We have 18% of Uganda's total land under protection, meaning that the 82% is not protected. So Uganda Wildlife Authority, generally, we do a lot, but we aim at ecosystem management. We do monitoring and research. We do wildlife resource protection. And then we promote protected areas for tourism to make sure that the tourists have a good experience. We do a lot of community conservation because without the community, then there is no wildlife conservation. They are the front line, so they are our key priority when it comes to conservation. Then we have problem animals, and we do a lot of management for them to try and improve the relationship between Uganda Wildlife Authority and the people of Uganda for whom the wildlife is being protected. And then we give a lot of licenses to people who want to do wildlife use. Amidst all this, we face a lot of challenges, and one of them, which currently is leading, is the invasive species, which have invaded most of our parks. We still have a lot of cases of poaching, and mainly with the snares, and these are non-discriminatory, so all the species, even the endangered ones, are being caught in these traps. We have encroachment. Our habitat has lost its quality, and connectivity has been lost, meaning that the genetic pool of the species we're conserving is being lost. And consequently, we have a lot of diseases that have come up. Climate change is a big driver of all these, and this is a global challenge, not just for Uganda, but we believe that it is one of those leading to the fires, leading to the invasion of the species. And at the moment, as I said before, invasive species is our leading threat to biodiversity conservation in Uganda. It has led to a lot of loss for the palatable plant species for our grazers and browsers. The tourists are no longer receiving a good visibility to animals, so they're starting to be demotivated when they pay their money and they come and all they see is a forest and less of the animals, because most of the animals are hiding under the shrubs and the visibility is poor. Most of the grazers have been pushed outside the protected areas into community land, which has increased the human-wildlife conflict. And this has also led to retaliatory killings of especially our carnivores. Currently in Uganda, our population of carnivores is one of those most threatened. We are stand at 219. This is a very big loss for the country because most tourists come and they are dissatisfied when they don't see the carnivores. And they are only left in 3 parks in Uganda, Queen Elizabeth, Machon, and Kidepo. As we stand as a country, our biggest species were actually originally in the 60s, they were natives. They were indigenous species and they were not spreading so fast. They were not colonizing a lot. But suddenly in the early 2000s, we saw a very huge change with the invasives covering most of the park. It's unfortunate that we haven't done a clear assessment of how much of the land of each of these parks has been covered. We have an estimate, and when we move around, we also see that it is really spreading so fast, but we haven't done a full assessment for all the parks to come up with a clear percentage of how much of the land of the savanna lands, especially the savanna parks, has been taken over by invasives. So it is one of those areas that would really need support with, and we come up with a clear map on and see the extent and magnitude of this challenge that we're dealing with. Most of them, as I've already said, have been indigenous, but we have some species that are exotic that were brought in. When we look at our list, just focusing on the major parks, Queen Elizabeth, Mburo, Machon Falls, and Kidepo, we have Dicrostachys senera, which has been, it is an indigenous one. It wasn't a problem before, but now it is a major problem. Across all these parks, it's our #1 threat. We call it Karemanjojo. Even the elephants are failing to eat it, but we believe if you have experts, we could manage this. We have another species, which is Lantana camara. This one was introduced. It's alien. It's not a native for Uganda. We have another species, which is, if I can cross over the ones that we wanted really serious attention on, we have Bolassus palm. This one is dominating in Machon Falls. This one is indigenous, and it's spread, of course, by elephants. Then we have acacia species, different species, and these ones are more common in Lake Mburo National Park. I'm just giving you a hint on the major ones that we really would need support to manage. Then we have the spear grass. It's also dominating in Queen Elizabeth National Park. Just to mention a few, the other list I'd already shared it with Christine before, but those are the major ones that we had agreed that we can concentrate on. And if we can manage those, then maybe we can translate the management to the others, and it could work. Currently in Uganda, we have an invasive species management and strategy and action plan. It was developed this year in March 2025, and it's going to run for the next 10 years. It focused on the first 6 national parks in Uganda. And our approach is, it set up a baseline of what we are doing, where we're going, what we intend to do. Currently, we've been using the mechanical uprooting and clearing. Actually, just a flashback, when the invasives were first noted, we tried to use a tractor to dig, and that was the most dangerous thing that we did as a country because we were spreading the invasive, but we didn't know at that moment. We didn't know that this action is going to turn into this big problem that we are facing today. And we learned a lesson from that, adaptive learning, very key in the Uganda Wildlife Authority. We had to change now and started the manual uprooting using the communities, and they take whatever they uproot to turn it into firewood in their homes. This has been working for a while. We are trying to do a bit of promote natural regeneration, but at some point we tried to bring in the native grasses and try to plant. But the moment you clear and plant, the animals all flood that area the next day. So it has also not worked out immediately. And when they all graze and finish, then the invasive again come up. We are doing periodic monitoring to try and prevent the secondary one and try to manage them, but we are not managing them on time. And this has also probably led to the current situation we're in. So when we uproot this season, we are supposed to go back after every 6 months and re-uproot probably before they flower. But because of the challenges that we have, which are not only for Uganda Wildlife Authority, but as a global challenges, financial limitations, the human resource limitations, we usually don't go back on time and the invasives keep on spreading. So even when we say this year we have managed 100 hectares of invasive in this park, when you go there next year, the first question would be, where did you manage? Because the rate at which they sprout upon removal is really high, and they need a constant management strategy. So we are hoping that in this meeting, we get more support and more guidance. The team of Uganda Wildlife Authority is all here, especially those who are in research and ecological monitoring, and then the species management specialists. We are all here today with a lot of interest to learn a lot from all the experts who are here. And we would really want to put in practice whatever is shared to us. The only limitation would be on chemicals, because we are dealing with national parks where we have a lot of herbivores, a lot of grazers. So if we use any chemicals outside the protected areas, actually in Uganda, they're using chemicals, especially something called Weedmaster and FOD. It's a systemic chemical that they're using in gardens. So they spray it and it is selective. They remove the broad-leaved plants, but they leave the grasses. However, we don't know the impact these have on the livestock and on the wildlife. So as Uganda Wildlife Authority, we're a bit hesitant to use the chemicals unless someone really tells us that they have used these chemicals in a wildlife protected area and there was no effect. So that is our biggest challenge right now, because everything we are doing is mechanical. Manual removal is our key.
Thanks, Carol. That was absolutely super. I'd like to say that I absolutely admire your openness, and I feel that openness is a strength, a very big strength. Because together during this workshop, coming from your openness, we can explore a way forward. You've set the challenges and context in the national parks very, very clearly for us. And so I think you've provided a wonderful opening to this workshop, and I feel that we can very easily follow on from what you've introduced.